Going for boost. Well, I think going for boost, if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle K-Cube, and today I'm joined with AJ Binky as always. How's it going, brother?
I feel like you gave an emphasis on the first syllable of podcast. Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast. But I'm good. How about you?
Hey, we had after a relatively, I don't know if boring's necessarily the right word, day one of the playoffs for EU. They said, here, hold my beer, and really turned it up to 11 for Championship Sunday. So I'm excited to...
Talking about Mountain Dew, baby.
That's such a good callback.
Yeah.
But man, a fantastic weekend of RLCS. We can't wait to talk to you guys about it. We got a jam-packed show for everyone today. We'll be talking about the insanity that was the EU playoffs, the NA Open Qualifier 2. The top 16 has been set with some notable upsets and some notable teams missing from that. We'll also be talking about the rest of the results from around the world of Rocket League before finishing off with a debate on RLCS coaching and finishing off with overtime, where we answer questions from you guys from Twitter or from our Discord. But without further ado, let's jump right into the EU playoff matches. AJ, you want to take us off? Take us through the quarterfinal results?
Let's do it. Quarterfinals. Carmine Corp sweeps Endpoint. BDS sweeps Magnifico. Gentle Mates 4-1 against Team 3. Vitality 4-1 against Moist.
Any kind of surprises for you from day one here?
No.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at too.
Yeah.
It's certainly
kind of boring overall.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly interesting, right? Because it's boring because none of them were really long series. They were all over in 5 games or less, and the team that everyone expected to win did, consistently throughout the whole day.
Yep.
But I mean, I think that Moist Vitality series is probably the best of day one. That's one of the closest 4-1s I've ever seen, with 2 overtime games, and after game 1, the rest of them being 1-goal games, I thought that was a really good series. I thought Moist probably deserved to take 1 or 2 of those. I don't know if they necessarily could have won the series, but I definitely think it could have been a lot closer than the scoreline shows.
Yeah, it was way closer than the scoreline shows, but it really felt like they should have been able to take more than just that one game.
I think so too. I mean, it feels a little bit like Moist took a little bit of time to ramp up to get into the series. As they lose that first game really handily, getting losing 7-3. But once they kind of got into it, Oli had a great series. I thought Joyo good as always, right? And Rezi was certainly carrying his weight. So it's cool to see the roster moves that they made, the additions that they made were kind of helping them out. So, I think that they'll look to regroup and try to perform better, or probably more aptly try not to run into Vitality in the next event.
They looked beatable, though, so...
They did.
And run into Vitality.
Yeah, we'll talk about now jumping into the semifinals. We have Carmine Corp beating BDS 4-3 after going down 3-0 and completing the reverse sweep, breaking through the BDS timeout buff. And
They both broke the buff, right?
yes, they did. They both broke the buff. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a debuff in that series?
I guess.
I don't know. And then you
Yeah.
have Gentle Mates taking down Vitality in Game 7 overtime to knock Vitality out of the tournament, and more importantly, prevent Vitality loses for the first time since picking up Zen. Not their,
Their first loss.
not their first series loss because they dropped down to lowers at the World Championships, but
Their
first time that they
not
didn't
win for the tournament.
Exactly.
Zen knows what defeat feels like.
Yeah, he does.
How long did it take him?
Almost a year.
That's insane.
Although a lot of that time was off season, but still.
Still.
In RLCS too. We're not talking about Gamers 8. That's completely different.
Different format. So that's ridiculous.
But I mean, so I don't know about you, but Vitality didn't seem to be ready to play in that series, as you have Gentle Mates taking the first two games. Vitality gets the timeout buff in this series to win Game 3. Gentle Mates win Game 4, and they're on triple match point, and it looks like really they got a stranglehold on the series, and Vitality fights back to take to send it to Game 7 overtime, where they're able to finish it off for the series win. But I certainly thought that they had it a lot sooner than they did. But Vitality they looked inconsistent. They looked a little bit sloppy at times. They were double committing and stacking up on each other on defense in ways that we have not, since they picked up Zen, we have not seen them do before. Something just looked off.
Yeah, for sure. Hard to say what though.
Yeah, I mean, because they looked very, very good against Moist. I mean, Moist was a good team. They played very well. But, it continues the topic that we've been talking about a little bit for the past, couple of weeks, that Vitality looks beatable, right? They're dropping games, they're dropping series now to teams that they haven't before. So, maybe it's a one-off for them. Maybe this really invigorates their willingness to grind and to really get back into the swing of things. But, for the time being, hats off to Gentle Mates. Great series, great result, and they get a top 2 out of it. As we, moving into the grand finals, after their reverse sweep of BDS, Karmine Corp was really firing on all cylinders, and they're able to take down Gentle Mates 4-2. It never really looked like they came back and tied the series at 2 after a timeout, and then Karmine Corp just kind of came in and stomped the rest of the event. So, had great showing from Karmine Corp. It really took them a while to ramp up on Championship Sunday, but for a pretty much lackluster day 1, day 2 was anything but.
Okay, so here's the new question. How long has it been since Pharah's lost?
So, we can talk about it more at the end. We're going to talk about some of the RLCS coaching stuff, but Pharah is currently on a 6 tournament winning streak in RLCS.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Good for you, Pharah.
So, but, with that, probably the biggest, shockers are seeing a best of 7 reverse sweep. Those are always, as fans, super exciting to see. That's something that doesn't happen very often. And, in my opinion, was Vitality losing their first series and BDS looking as good as they did after picking up Drali. That roster looked lethal until Game 4 of their semifinal series.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you said it. They looked real good until they didn't. So,
but now
hopefully we see more of it.
I hope so too. We'll hint a little bit in our biggest winners and losers here in a second. But looking at our predictions, you went for Mass Chaos.
I went the Hopium route.
Yeah, the Hopium route. You picked Karmine Corp, BDS, Team 3, and Moist to move into the grand finals, with Karmine Corp winning, and you missed out on Team 3 and Moist But
Yeah, I
you
mean,
got the winner. You got 2 of the top 4.
yeah, and I got the winner. Yeah,
Yeah. So
it could have been worse.
yeah, another good showing. I mean, I can't really. I feel like I can't really take too much credit on mine. I picked the top 4 in the winner, but like it just went how it was supposed to, right? I just picked the 4 teams that were supposed to do the best.
Right, but how often does that happen?
I feel like in EU pretty frequently.
That's fair. I'll allow it.
In NA, no way.
Yeah,
No
no
way.
chance.
But so again, another day, another episode, another us doing really good in our predictions. Kind of on a little bit of a hot streak here.
Yeah,
So,
we're doing pretty good.
but
Kind
now,
of dropped the ball a little bit there, but
and we were going for the
I'll
hopium.
make a
Like,
bounce back.
it makes it a
Yeah.
little bit more exciting if we don't all pick the same thing.
Exactly.
So I get it.
Exactly.
But
We need to get Ace back in here so we can do some bets for the majors.
but now we'll jump
Keep it
in.
tally.
We'll jump into our biggest winners and losers of the weekend. Starting out with the winners. First and foremost, I have Gentlemates. They're able to take down Goliath and advance to the grand finals. They're able to end Vitality's streak of not winning major events. A fantastic showing for them. But I will say this now, puts a bigger target on their back, and they now have, bigger expectations moving forward. So I'll be very intrigued to see how they can handle those expectations and that pressure that they've now put on themselves by, taking down Vitality. And then, our biggest winner of the weekend is Karmine Corp. Everyone expected them to do great things. They're the number 1 seed in EU, and we thought that we were going to see them go out early to BDS, but they're able to fight back. They showed incredible resilience. The whiteboard himself, Farah, did a great job with them. We'll talk about more about that in the coaching section, but they truly looked like they were in final form in the grand finals after completing that reverse sweep. They never looked panicked, and I'm a little bit afraid to see what they can do moving forward.
Was it Drawley that was looking super panicky in that series?
Towards the end, I felt like he kind of was. I feel like they were,
Yeah.
maybe like targeting or tormenting him a little bit, but it's his first.
Yeah.
It's his first regional, as an RLCS pro. So, on one of the top 4 teams. So I can understand the nerves a little bit, but I really hope for BDS's sake that he can kind of bring it back together, and BDS can regain from that one.
Yeah, they did great.
Did I miss any winners that you think should be in there?
100%. I want to put 100% in there again.
They didn't even play,
Irrelevant. They took down Vitality.
but so did Gentlemates.
Well, yeah, but Gentlemates also got second place.
That's fair. Okay.
I feel like we need to show that Vitality is beatable.
Yeah.
And we do so by taking a series that's completely irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Continue bringing
and
it up.
showing that exactly.
And-
showing that another team has beaten Vitality.
You're either the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You're the villain, Zen.
So now on our biggest losers, I don't know if it's necessarily right to put them on this list, but based on what we've come to know and expect from them, Vitality is on my list for biggest losers. A loss to 100% in the Swiss stage, and a loss to Gentlemates, excluding them from their first grand final since picking up Zen. They looked sloppy, non-consistent, a little bit bunched up on defense, and they never really looked in control of that series. They were chasing it the entire time, but kind of trying to dig themselves out of a hole that they dug for themselves. So for that reason, they're on
For
this
the
list.
record, they still did great.
Yes, 100%.
Like top 4. The fact that top 4, they get top 4, and like we're still talking about them like this, like they're one of the biggest losers of the tournament, is ridiculous.
I mean, the expectations are just so sky high coming off of
Uh-huh.
a world championship, as many regionals as they've won, as many events as they've won, as good as they looked. So that's kind of why I see them there. But you're right. I mean, it is kind of crazy to consider them one of the biggest losers of the tournament. Coming in 4th, because that's a fantastic
That being said,
result.
I agree with it. I think they're one of the biggest losers of the tournament.
Yeah. And then, secondly, for biggest losers, I have any EU team that's not currently in the top 4 that we saw on Sunday. The non-top 4 EU teams were completely outclassed in the quarterfinals. They will really, really need to step it up if they want a shot at one of those 4 major spots, because remember, they've decreased the major participation from NA and EU. They only have 4 slots. So if you're not in the top 4, you're not making the major. And
I wouldn't say Moist was completely outclassed. I think they held their own against Vitality.
you're right, but I think Team 3, Magnifico, and Endpoint were.
I agree.
So, I mean, maybe you slot Moist into that 5th spot and you give them an outside shot at making the top 4. But, I mean, Carmine
I like
Corps
that.
and Vitality seem to be locks. BDS
Yep.
looks awesome. Gentle Mates, I mean, clearly they looked good. They beat Vitality, right? But I mean, certainly it seems to me that those are the 4 favorites to make our
Yeah.
major.
Yeah, it seems like there's a clear top 4 in EU right now.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think that any team not currently in the top 4 are in a little bit of danger moving forward.
But also Oxygen.
Yeah, I mean they didn't even make. They didn't
It's
even make.
crazy.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like they could fit somewhere up in near, like at least top 8, obviously, but
I mean that's what I
but
would have
they
thought
didn't,
too.
So guess not.
So we will have to wait and see, as the open qualifier number 2 for EU will be this coming up weekend. So we shall see how everything shakes out for them. Now that we got our biggest winners and losers out of the way, it's time for AJ's series of the day. AJ, you got a pick for that one?
No,
No?
it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip between both of the semifinals matches. But Carmine Corp is heads, Gentle Mates is tails,
Okay.
and the coin landed tails. So it's Gentle Mates Alpine versus Vitality.
Okay. I mean, I
Solely for the reason that Zen knows what defeat feels like.
mean, I would tend to agree. I think those are 2 fantastic series. Definitely 2 of the best series that we've seen in a long time, in my personal opinion. And I mean, it kind of showed personally. We had some graphics were posted on Twitter over the weekend during the most popular match of the weekend was Carmine Corp and Gentle Mates, then Carmine Corp and BDS, and then Vitality and Gentle Mates in terms of like viewership. But we had 413,177 concurrent viewers for the grand final match, and about 300,000 for Carmine Corp and BDS for a regional event. That is fantastic.
That's insane. But where did they come up with that number?
It
Is
was
between Twitch and YouTube.
yes,
Okay, gotcha.
but you
'Cause,
know,
like,
and that
anytime
does
I checked the Twitch count, it was like 30,000-40,000, which that's a lot. But
yeah. But then they're
that's
also
not 400,000.
they're also filtering in the people that were watching watch parties of of the RLCS,
Right, that
and
makes sense.
people that are
Yeah.
watching on TikTok and other
Yeah.
like social media platforms as well. So
Yeah.
fantastic to see for the scene, and I think that you picked a good series, even if it was a coin flip, because I think those 2 series were just so good.
Yeah. Carmine Corp BDS. I feel like BDS threw that one.
I mean, I think they're good for different reasons, right?
I feel
think
like, yeah,
everyone loves to see a reverse sweep, but I think
they were both insane series.
yeah. But
Fun to watch.
indeed. So now let's jump into open qualifier number 2 for NA. Most notably, in our last episode, we kind of said that we weren't really expecting any surprises in terms of teams making top 16. Boy, were we incorrect.
I see what you did there.
Hey, for those that don't, you'll understand here in a second. But I'll just run us down quickly the teams that have made the top 16 for the NA Open Qualifier number 2, and that is Deleted XD, Dignitas, G2 Stride, G Buffo, Gen G, Incorrect, Leftovers, Luminosity, M80, NRG, OG, Omelet, Pirates on a Boat, Space Station Gaming, TSM, and University of Robs.
All right. So what surprises do we have here?
Well, no Shopify. I mean, they're
That's definitely a surprise.
a top 4 team, not even making it into into the Swiss. That seems kind of crazy.
I gotta let the dog out real quick. Keep going for a second. I have no idea what they were barking at.
Fair.
Did you hear them at all?
Not really.
Jesus. Okay. Okay, where'd we leave off?
Biggest surprises are Shopify Rebellion not making the top 16. Their run comes to an end as they lose 3-1 to G Buffo to drop down into lower brackets, and they are eventually swept by TSM in the lower bracket final round to qualify and are out.
That's crazy.
It certainly is. And then deleted TSM, University of Robs, OG, Incorrect, Omelet, NRG, and Leftovers are all qualifying through the lower bracket, while we have Pirates on a Boat, Space Station, G Buffo, Gen G, Luminosity, Dignitas, M80, and G2 Stride qualifying through the upper brackets. So, the biggest surprise is not seeing Shopify, but also most notably we're missing Snowmen, Muffin Men, Young Whippersnappers, and Plot Twist, all teams that we saw in Regional 1 in the top 16 in the Swiss stage. And also another point to mention is University of Robs is the University of Akron's team and is officially the first CRL team to make RLCS. So
that's so cool.
Congratulations to them.
Good on ya.
Yeah, and that team is Patty, Tristan, and Bullseye. Tristan, is a known Akron player. They've had a good team for a long time. Akron is one of the powerhouses of CRL outside of Northwood, which has had some dominance pretty recently. But a good showing for them. And again, we continue to see a lot of representation from non-org backed teams like G Buffo, Incorrect, Leftovers, Omelet, Pirates on a Boat, and University of Robs. So, good to see that, but, kind of surprising to miss out.
It's nice to see different names.
Yeah, for sure. Weird to not see Shopify, but, cool to see, the wide range of teams here.
Very weird to not see Shopify. But yeah, variety.
Indeed. But, other than, not seeing some of those names, it's kind of a lot of the same than what we've seen, right? So, OG qualifying through lowers, not really super surprising to me, seeing their last run. NRG the same. But, one thing that we did not talk about in our episode on Friday that needs to be talked about is NRG made another roster move.
That's ridiculous. When are they going to stop?
For this regional, it was announced that Toasty was going to be sitting in favor of their sub Drees. There's not been a lot of information that's come out about that. I'm not sure if it's due to performance. I'm not sure if it's due to, personal reasons or, anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that. But,
I'd have to imagine we're not going to hear a lot about that.
I mean, I would tend to agree as well. Because Drees is going to be playing in this weekend coming up as well. It's not going to be Toasty. So we will have to wait and see what happens with that. But, this is the third. I mean, I don't know if it's technically a roster move, right? But you're benching one of your starters. First it was Eris, then it was Frosty, then it was Toasty, and now it's Drees. So it's like they've had 4 people that have been kind of taking that one spot in this offseason. So I don't really know what's happening with them. I think they're kind of scrambling. I kind of feel like Drees is an upgrade over Toasty, but I don't really know what's going to happen.
It worked for
with
BDS.
that. Yeah, it did. You're right.
I'm not going to doubt any benched players at this point.
Hey, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Extra is still a super sub right now with BDS, so we'll have to wait and
Yeah.
see what happens with Drees. Good, certainly good for Drees to see him competing again. As it was kind of announced that earlier that he was going to be, taking a break and subbing instead of playing. So, I wonder what changed things, but I guess we'll never truly
Who
know.
knows?
Yeah. But with that, I think it's time to make ourselves look dumb again and make some predictions on the top 8 on which teams we will
Dang it!
we think will be making into the top 8. I
I
think
haven't
we
even
kind
put
of
any thought into it this time.
I think we can kind of work together on this a little bit. I think that there's 2 teams that definitely will be there.
Yep.
I think it's Gen G. I think it's G2. Right? Like, there's nothing that they've shown that makes me believe that they shouldn't be there, in my personal opinion.
Agreed. I'm also throwing TSM down. I feel like that's a solid roster that deserves to be in the top 8.
I would tend to agree. I think that they will learn from their previous Swiss stage mistakes and come back even better than last time. I think we see Space Station there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I personally
Pirates on
also
a
think we
Boat.
see Pirates on a Boat. Yeah,
Yep.
and then this
Makes
is kind of where we run into some issues. I think Dignitas. I think that they've showed some quality results. I think I could. I'm happy putting them in there. And then that kind of leaves 2 spots up for grabs, right? Is it, how are we feeling
Wait,
about?
wait. Hold the phone. You haven't put M80 in yet.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
That was
I'll
going to
put
be
them
my
in.
point. So we have 2 spots left. So it kind of depends on how you're feeling about M80. It depends on how you're feeling about like OG, NRG, Luminosity, or does one of these non-org sponsored teams make a run? Do you get an omelet, a leftovers, or a G Buffo in there? Is it going to be
See the
sponsored?
CRL team going through.
You think so? You think?
That would be. I don't think so. No, but I would love to see it. I think that'd be fantastic. Let's see.
I think I'm going to round out my top 8 with M80 and Luminosity.
It's so hard to not put Dig in there.
I know they looked so good the last time, but it's like, can they keep it up? And then it's like, has OG like put their shit together? Does M80 pass the vibe check? They looked so good in Swiss, but then they did not look good in playoffs. Like, what's really going on? Is Drees the game changer from NRG? Is that really what unlocks all of that? There's a lot of good teams here. There's a lot of teams that will be looking to make this top 8, and I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are disappointed to not. But realistically, I think that for the most part, it seems like we got a pretty consensual.
Consensual?
Words are hard. Pretty
You're
similar.
not wrong.
Top 5, top 6 maybe, and then that's really kind of where it falls off.
Yep.
I think that 3rd and 4th spot in NA is really like up for grabs way more than it is in EU personally. So I'm looking for some teams to kind of separate themselves and differentiate themselves from the rest of the pack.
I think I'm going to NRG.
Okay. You think Drees
Yeah.
makes that much of a difference for him?
I think they figure something out.
I mean, I feel like they
I
have
don't
to
know
with as
what.
many roster moves as they've had.
Yeah, no kidding. So mine are G2, Gen G, TSM, SSG, Pirates on a Boat, M80, OG, and NRG. This one was hard.
Yeah. I similarly have G2, Gen G, TSM, Space Station, Pirates on a Boat, and then for my last 2, I have Dignitas and M80. I feel like NRG haven't done enough yet to make it.
Did you
and-
miss Luminosity in there?
And Luminosity. You're right.
It's after a line break, so cut him some slack.
Yeah. But I think Luminosity have done enough, and certainly, I would love to see a continued watch party for Luminosity. Their stream was just really, 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 really funny, really entertaining.
Whose was it?
That was Spaceman.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
oh, you need to watch it. It was really, it was
I'll check it out this
it was
time.
really good. I highly recommend that all the listeners go and check that out at some point when they're playing. They did a really good job. They get a lot of creative freedom from the people at Luminosity, and they were able to make the most of it. It was
That's
quite
awesome.
entertaining. But with that, I'm looking forward to seeing how wrong we are when Swiss kicks off this Friday. But in the meantime, it's time to send us around the world.
Yeah. Well, hold up. Let's pick our 3-0s.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. 3-0.
Our two teams that are going to go 3-0.
Yep. Oops.
I mean,
Do I do it? I
um
think I have to do it. I'm not feeling too confident about it. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I mean, for me, it's got to be G2 and Gen G, and like, there's really like those are the two best teams in NA currently, as I see it, and there hasn't been anything to change my mind yet. So that's what I'm gonna go with for my top three, or for my two
Yeah.
3-0s.
Yeah, those are good picks. I went with G2 and TSM. You know, it's Swiss. Anything can happen.
Yeah, true, and it all depends on that matchup too, right? Like the seeding and the matchup really means a lot, right? So that 3-0, it could be Gen G TS, or it could be Gen G G2.
Yeah.
And then that knocks one of those out of that 3-0 spot. But also similarly, if you that like just for instance, like Incorrect wins their first match and they come up against G2, right? That's a different type of matchup than playing like an M80 or Luminosity or something like that. So
Yes,
it really depends
is.
on the seeding. It depends on the results and some of the tiebreakers in there as well. But you got anything else before we wrap up NA and send us around the world?
University of Robs, I'm really hoping for you. We're hoping some wins for you.
The Hopium is real. Represent that CRL
Hopium
scene.
is real. Get that top 8. Yep. Well, we need more college teams here. Did I screw that up for you?
No.
I think I did. There we go.
But with that, let's jump over to OCE. We got 16 teams making the top 16, surprisingly enough. But those teams are Power, Pioneers, Gremlins, Kaka's Minions, Ground Zero, Shooting, Chiefs, Long Red Cordial, The Bus, Say Sorry, Soulja Boys, Tiki Taka, Nookles Pookles, That's Crazy, They Whomst Cooketh, and Ninja Low Taper Fade.
No way.
So,
okay,
we got to do it to him. Best name.
Oh no.
I got mine.
This one's so hard.
I got mine.
Oh, I'm between.
I got my main one, and then I got an honorable mention.
Yeah. I think this is between Nookles Pookles and They Whomst Cooketh.
Interesting. Okay.
There's some good ones though.
I think
I'm gonna go with Nookles Pookles.
Okay. My favorite is They Whomst Cooketh, and honorable mention to Ninja Low Taper Fade.
Yeah, that one's good too.
That's pretty funny. But for this, I still think it's the teams that we've seen before, right? It's Power, it's Pioneers, it's Gremlins, it's Kaka's Minions, it's Ground Zero, it's Chiefs, right? Like those are your teams. They're fighting for those two regional spots. So Power looks to separate themselves from the rest. Chiefs looks to kind of regain after a good showing, but not what they would want. And we'll kind of have to wait and see when the dust settles who can kind of pull away in second place. But I kind of expect those to be the teams up at the top of the region. Did I miss anything? You got anything to add?
Who wins?
Power.
Okay, I'm changing up the doc here. Oh, I screwed that up. Let's go back. Oh, dang it. I'll say Ground Zero.
Okay.
Going on a limb here.
Okay.
Don't let it down, GZ.
I think that's fair. Next, we'll jump over to Sam. Teams making the top 16. We got Complexity, Furia, Mulattoes, Crew, Bodybuilders, Hero Base, WM7 Esports, Team Secret, Timeless, Not Exposed, True Neutral, Gamer Legion, Ninjas in Pajamas, Team Mazus, Barcelona, and Illuminatus. So what's your best name here?
Wait, oh, this is South America. Never mind.
Yeah, this is Sam.
I was thinking the 7 was like that sound that Mawson has,
Yeah,
but nah, different region.
yeah, not yet.
I gotta stick with Ninjas in Pajamas.
I agree.
There's not much going on here, to be honest.
No, there's
Not Exposed is okay,
yeah.
but it's no NIP.
So then you got a winner here.
Do I have a winner? Did we pick Fury last time?
I
feel like we
did.
did, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna switch mine up and take Complexity this time. They looked so good.
Complexity, really? Okay. Okay, who won the last one?
Complexity.
It was Complexity. I want to say Crew, but I want to check where they
Yeah,
placed first.
Complexity swept Furia, and Complexity beat Crew 4-2 in the semis.
I'll go Crew.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm picking Crew.
Okay. So you want to take us away with Mina?
Let's do it. So we got top 16 for Mina, 5-Head, ASE, Awawa, Fearless, Geeks, Infinity, Innovators, In the House, Nameless, Nightmare, Revolution, Rockside, Rule 1, Falcons, Twisted Minds, and Villains.
Okay.
Best name.
This one is tough, but I still like 5-Head. I think that's really good.
I don't think this one's tough. Was Geeks your second one?
Yes.
Okay. That's understandable. I agree. It's 5-Head.
Okay.
And who wins?
Falcons.
Yeah. Me too. I don't win. I'm also picking Falcons to win.
Yeah. I think that they showed some tremendous results from the last event. I think they look to continue that. I think Rule 1 is a very close second in that region, but other than that, I think it's really, kind of those two running away.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Now jumping over to Asia Pacific, APAC, we have Albino Monkeys, Chapati Dream, C-Vent, Detonator, Elevate, Game & Gladiators, Go Blocks, Graces Blase, Los Angeles Signal, Resda, Sailing Esports, Triple Jawa, Yama Finance, and Yokohama F. Marinos Esports.
Yeah, I got my favorite. What's yours?
Chapati Dream.
Really?
I think it's just fun to say.
It is. You're not wrong. I like Albino Monkeys, though.
Fair.
I think that's a creative one.
Okay. Who do you got winning?
I mean, this is Elevate, right?
I'm saying Gladiators. I still think that
You going Gladiators?
I think they have it still, but we were wrong the last time, so
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to kind of see how things shake out for them this time. We had a grand finals last time of Chapati Dream and Elevate. We had Gladiators losing in Game 7 to Chapati Dream, so hopefully for my prediction's sake, they can figure it out.
Did I say Elevators?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I'm getting a little sleepy. Yeah, Elevate's my pick for that.
Okay, that's fair. And then you want to
Alright.
take us away with SSA, last region?
Let's do some sub-Saharan Africa. So top 16 for SSA are 77 Blocks, Bird, Bonjour, Drang GNG, Drift Queens, Firehawks, Limitless, Orgless, Owned Esports, Sesame Street Ballers, Schmongolia, Streskabibi, White Rabbit Gaming, World of Tanks, and Young Money Clan. So before we get into this, how much do you think World of Tanks was paid
Hey,
to have that name?
I'm glad that you brought that up because I was going to make the joke. And this episode of the podcast is brought to you by, but no free advertisements. Hey, World of Tanks, hit us up. But I laughed pretty hard when I read that one.
That's hilarious.
But still staying undefeated for me in best name in SSA, it's got to be Sesame Street Ballers. I think that's really clever.
You know what would be even better? Is if they did it just for the memes.
Yeah. I feel like they probably did do it just for the memes.
That's what I'm thinking. Because, like, would anybody actually pay for that?
I mean,
like, hey, we might make top 16 and people might see your name. Give us money for it. I don't know. That's crazy.
I mean, it's a Polish team.
Can you take her?
Huh?
Can you take her? Wait.
When?
She's sitting here scratching.
Yeah, she wants to hang out with you guys or something.
I want to sleep. So next time you shut the door, she's just gonna scratch to come out. You're such a pain in the ass, man. She's cute. What are you doing?
Okay.
So then, what is your best name for SSA?
I want to go Schmongolia again. Beach to it.
Okay. And
I forgot the I though.
And your winner?
I'd laugh so hard if it's World of Tanks. Yeah, it's got to be Limitless.
Okay.
Beach to it.
Yeah. So, for SSA's sake, I hope Limitless continues to win. As you know, we're getting even more non-SSA org teams. The signups were even higher for EU teams in SSA as World of Tanks, 77 Blocks, Drift Queens, Firehawks, Young Money Clan.
Young Money Clan's EU, right?
Yeah. So
That's
is World of Tanks. So is 77 Blocks. So is Firehawks. So is Drift Queens.
Okay,
So is Straskabibi.
I'm kind of like low key gonna root for
Keto, Edek, and Will You. Wailu.
Interesting.
3 Polish players.
I mean, I don't want them to win.
Maybe a top
because
4
they're
though.
not SSA.
Maybe a top 4 though.
Yeah, I'd be cool with the top 4. Maybe they'll actually get sponsored by World of Tanks then.
That'd be really funny.
That'd be so funny.
World of Tanks brought to you by World of Tanks.
I mean, like, I feel like World of Tanks sponsors everybody, so like, it's not out of the question.
For sure. But now for our last topic before we jump into overtime, RLCS coaching. There was a tweet that went out that basically was talking about what an important position in RLCS that a coach is and what a really good coach can bring you. They highlighted that Farah has now won his past 6 tournaments, winning 4 regionals and 2 LANs in a row. This begs the question, or like starts to begin the conversation of the question, is he the greatest coach ever in RLCS?
Yes.
I mean, I kind of struggle to find someone that's of similar status as him. I think that he has done a fantastic job with Vitality and now with Karmine Corps. I mean, just look at what they were able to do after going down 0-3 to BDS. They're able to, bring it back. They never looked panicked. They never looked like out of control. They just kind of put their heads down and went to work, and they were able to do it. But, what makes Farah so good, do you think?
It's that coveted whiteboard. He's got his magical powers.
Yeah, I wonder if he took the whiteboard from Vitality or if they had to keep it locked up.
It's a good question. If I had to guess, I'd say he took it based on results.
Yeah, but I mean, like in reality, like he's a cool, calm, collected individual. He really is, pretty calculating, and he knows what he's doing, right? He's able to get the most out of his players, which is really what you're looking for as a coach. So,
Mhm.
it kind of brings into a bigger conversation. How long will it take other regions to figure out how important having a really good coach is? Is NA really lacking in this department? And then, are all former players good coaches? I mean, certainly in NA we see a lot of coaches that are former players, just as Pharaoh was. But when you think about it, you have Torment coaching OG, former player. You have Sathu, former player. You have Illusion coaching Gen G, Sad Junior coaching Space Station, Violent Panda coaching Dignitas,
Where's Fireburner now?
coaching NRG still.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I probably knew it at some point, but
But
yeah.
is NA coaching that far behind, or is Farah just that good?
I feel like NA coaching is just that far behind. Like, obviously, I don't know. If I had to guess, it seems like the top EU teams put a strong emphasis on their coach, and it does not feel that way in NA at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, you definitely saw how big of a deal it was when Karmine Corp was able to pry Pharaoh away from Vitality, and then they bring in Fairy Peak. But
Yeah.
it's a big deal, and so this is probably the first of many conversations we'll have about RLCS coaching. We'll try and bring in some more RLCS level coaches to talk this through and to kind of get their thoughts on it, as well as maybe some players or former players. But this is certainly a conversation that I think needs to be had. I think that as much credit as Farah got last year, I think he needs even more. Like what he was able to do for Karmine Corp in their run over the weekend cannot be understated.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what he's done, and what he can still do, for that matter.
For sure. But before we jump into overtime, did you have any other lasting thoughts on any of the regions we talked about today, or anything about coaching?
Not really. One thing I think we should start doing is best kickoff.
Okay. Yeah, let's add it in
I
there
think that'd be fun.
let's add it in there for next time. So next
Cool.
next episode you will hear our debut of best kickoff. So
I was just thinking about OG's kickoff for some reason, where they both cross and then do the aerial passing play to each other and shoot it on. That was nuts.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good
Yeah.
way to bring more attention to how important kickoffs are, and alternately to hear and see some different strategies that people employ.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
But now it is time for overtime, a segment on the show where we ask you guys for questions that you want to have answered on the show, either on Twitter or Discord. We got some questions this time. First from Vey_RL on Twitter, and also from @WickedUpdates on Twitter. They both have the same first part of the question, so I'm going to ask them both together. But should every team have to go through the entire qualification process every regional? It feels like the current system rewards a team popping off in any one day more than it rewards consistency. And Wicked Update says, what are your thoughts on major orgs being challenged in qualifiers, and some of those pro players and fans being upset by those teams by teams beating them and denying them entry into regionals? What are your thoughts on the current qualification system and how it works for double and single elimination days?
Do I think that the pro teams should have to go through every tournament just like everybody else? No. That's how we end up with 43-0 games when Furia plays against Diamonds. But on the flip side of that, I really like seeing all this variety as far as teams. So, as much as I don't think they should have to, I think it is a good thing, because we can get this variety, like Shopify not being in it, teams like the CRL team, Omelette being in, I think it's a good thing.
I mean, I would tend to agree. I mean, I think maybe there's a like a better balance that you can find, like where maybe, you know, any team that made the top 16 at the last time gets a bye through straight to the double elim bracket.
Or even just like the top 4 or like the winner, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And another thing I think that, and Farrah tweeted this, and we're not going to go into it right now, but another thing that's potentially possible is making them not best of 3.
Right.
Right? Because, like, you know, you saw what if the semifinal series between BDS and Karmine Corp was a best of 5, BDS sweeps them. But because it was a best of 7, Karmine Corp come back and reverse sweep. Right? That's awesome Rocket League. A best of 3 series is not conducive for seeing good Rocket League. It's conducive for seeing someone pop off for a couple of games, which I would tend to agree with. But they do a best of 3 because they want shorter qualifying days. But because the qualifying days are split up into 3 into an entire weekend, I think that they could get away with doing best of 5s, and it would be significantly better. We would see less upsets. We would see less, you know, crazy results. And there's a better opportunity that, you know, someone like Shopify or, you know, some of the other teams that we've seen in the top 16 make it, because over a longer series, talent usually prevails.
How much longer would that make the qualifying tournament though?
You know, I don't know that it makes it too much longer until the very end, personally. And, you know, by that point, you know, maybe you just play an extra series on one of the days or something like that to kind of decrease it. But, you know, on top of that, it also gives more stream revenue to the team streams, right? To the organizations that are putting on these streams for their teams.
Point.
And it, at the end of the day, it's more Rocket League to watch, which is really, you know, what a lot of people like.
What is it, quality Rocket League? Like, are we going to go watch the Furia beat the Diamonds 43-0?
No, not necessarily, but, you know, once we're getting into the nitty-gritty of that, you know, double elim,
later matches will be better. Then I agree.
Because, like, I mean, I'd love to see that TSM series where they, you know, they swept to get in, right? Like, you know, maybe they get reverse swept, maybe they don't, but like that's part of it, right? I just feel like a best of 3 is like so short. Because, like, you look at other like video games in general and other esports, like their competitions are so much longer, right? Rocket League is a 5-minute game. On average, takes about 7 minutes to complete a match, unless you're scoring 43 goals, like Furia did.
Yeah, then it takes an hour.
Yeah, but, you know, that only happens, you know, at the very beginning of the event, or maybe you do a better vetting process of making sure that those kind of teams aren't getting into the tournament.
I mean, I like that they can, you know.
Yeah.
Keeps things open. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think that it's cool, and I kind of disagree that it rewards a team for popping off on one day. I think you have to be consistent over multiple weekends to be able to do well in this format, which is more than we've seen in the past, right? But, you know, that's difficult to do, right? We saw it with Vitality, right? They were not consistent, and they paid the price. They lost.
They paid the ultimate price.
Yeah, but
only top 4.
Yeah, but the second part of the question from Vey is, what about Disney buying 10% of Epic? Will this have any benefits to Rocket League or just Fortnite? We talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but with Disney, you know, coming into the fold with Epic, it has the potential to be huge for both Fortnite and for Rocket League. Disney has massive reach. They have way more resources than Epic does. They have a lot of things that people would like to see for crossovers, like the Cars crossover that we saw. There certainly will be mini skins in Fortnite and potentially Disney-themed maps in Rocket League. But, you know, a lot of people forget that Disney has, you know, streaming services. They have ESPN, they have Disney Plus, which, if utilized, you know, similar to like how Overwatch League or CSGO Pro League they were streamed on cable. And that's another avenue of people that can watch Fortnite and Rocket League. So I think it has the potential for, you know, massive growth and making it even more mainstream than it already is. And none of this has been confirmed, so we don't actually know if this is true or not. But I think the potential is there, and a company like Disney investing in Epic Games can only bring more money and, in my opinion, positives to the game.
I would pay more money than I'd like to admit to have Goofy taunting my opponents as a goal explosion.
Hey, yeah, and now that Disney is a part owner of Epic Games, the way has been paved for that to happen.
That would be incredible.
But also, Wicked updates. The second part of his question is the issue in SSA. EU teams being almost half of the qualifying teams there. How do you feel about other teams being able to compete in different regions? What are your thoughts on that?
I still
first?
don't like it. I feel like there needs to be some restriction on it.
I can't.
I don't have a potential solution for it. Like, I don't just. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Because you're going to compete in another region because you weren't good enough or talented enough to compete in your own region, right?
And then
So
how many teams are going to take a quick vacation and go farm a different region? You know.
I mean, you mentioned that, but Lunar, one of those people, is currently on his way to Tokyo to compete for the regional alongside his American team, Los Angeles Signal. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I mean, like you kind of, in my opinion, if these players are scrimming in the region, then I think it's a short-term negative for a net positive. For these regions, especially SSA. However, I would contend that these EU and NA teams that are competing there, not NA in the top 16, but there's some EU teams in the top 16, are not scrimming in the region because the scrims are not as good, right? So you're really you're coming into a region to compete, but you're not bringing anything into the ecosystem. You're just, kind of playing to win because you're not good enough to compete in EU. So, I think that there does need to be some kind of checks to it. I think that, eventually, I think this is going to be okay once the regions start to level out and the talent level kind of the equilibrium of talent kind of spreads out. But in the beginning of a first major region like SSA, this is the first time that they're going to be at a major and not just the World Championships. I think it's detrimental to the growth of the player base there.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it could be positive long term, but as of now, not a fan.
I would agree. And we have one more question from Uncle_Che on Twitter. Pretty controversial question. What's the best flavor of pudding?
So, this isn't the question, but my favorite flavor of pudding is close between vanilla and lemon.
Okay. I'm a big vanilla guy too. I understand that.
Mm-hmm. But what's the best flavor?
I
I
know.
think I have to go with vanilla.
I mean, I know a lot of people like a good banana pudding or bread pudding.
True. I like me some banana.
Does that kind of throw a wrench into your thoughts?
But no, I mean, like objective best, I feel like we have to go vanilla, right?
I feel like it's between vanilla and chocolate, but I would tend to lead vanilla as
Right.
well.
Yeah, but the people that like chocolate are just wrong.
Hey, I'm here for it. We'll stir the pot. You're right.
Yeah,
How could you like chocolate pudding?
exactly. So,
If
yeah,
you do like chocolate pudding, tag us on Twitter or in our Discord and tell us why we're wrong. But
the
I'm here for
official
vanilla.
Boost Over Ball podcast stance on what the best pudding is vanilla.
Fight us.
Yep. Come at us.
But
Just not in Rocket League because we're not that good.
But thank you guys for sending in your questions. We will be tweeting out again once we are ready to record later this week, and then again next Monday for more questions. If you have questions that you'd like answered on the show, feel free to reply to those tweets. And we love hearing from you guys. We love answering the questions, and we love hearing what you guys want to know about. So now that we're out of overtime, is there anything that you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Vanilla's the winner. OT did chocolate dirty.
Vanilla MVP?
Yeah. All the way.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember, as always, to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us continue to grow and improve the show. Check out our YouTube, our Twitch, our TikTok, and our merch store, continuing to add new items every so often, and in addition to the current items that we already have. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.